Now we're back on the dance floor. Back on the dance floor. Back on the dance floor.
But just in terms of the the sort of sonic ingredients, almost from the first track from Trapper Man, the addition of female vocals, for example, which is that took me by surprise.
Yeah. I think female BVs is probably something that was gonna happen. Probably been meaning to happen for a long time, and I'd just get probably bored with them being guys, and also the brass thing is another thing that I've really been enjoying having the brass element now in songs, quite a lot of the songs. So when I go out on tour next time, I'm thinking I'll just have to, still have the elements I've always had, but then to have a brass element in there as well, because it'll just be more people on the bus.
Yeah, but you like a bus, don't you?
Yeah.
You love that team.
Well, I do like the team thing, yeah. It's like having a little circus.
But I mean, as you always say, you count yourself lucky to enjoy all those different elements of it. You love this, don't you? And you love rehearsing, you love travelling, and obviously the bit that everybody else loves is the performing part of it.
Yes, I mean, I enjoy the whole thing of being inspired to write something, of working it out, writing it at home, and then trying to take it to a studio to try to make it work as a song. And I've got to make a decision as well. Should I just bring it in here and work on it on my own, or should I take it straight to a band? Because it will be a different thing if you do that. And so you're trying to decide which school to send your child to. You're trying to do the best thing for it. And you hope that you've made the right choice. And of course you haven't sometimes. That's just part of it, I'm sure. I think it's the business of making a record from having written the song and then bringing it to musicians. It can be quite a bendy route. It's not just motorways all the way, that's all. And and it involves tearing things up and chucking them away. There's an element of that too. Some things that have just refused to work somehow. And it was a vision, if you like, that was never realized. And that can happen, yeah.
Yeah, you got as well as the motorways, there's B roads and cul-de-sacs and things as well.
The cul-de-sac you drive into, and then you have to do a sort of 16-point turn and try and come back out and get your truck back out on the main road again, as unobtrusively as you can. Yeah, it's part of it. That's part of the fun of it, though, too, as well, really. Yeah, it's pretty much the same guys that I've worked with for a long time. But I've been working with Nigel Hitchcock, who's a phenomenal saxophonist. He must be the greatest sax player in the UK. One of the greatest players in the world. I'd say it's safe to say. And a mate of Nigel's, Tom Walsh, is a fantastic trumpet player. So they've made a great little section on some of the songs and some phenomenal playing. And then Mike and John, John McCusker and Mike McGoldrick, who've always been with me for years, they're figuring in a few of the songs. Probably not as many as they have done before, but I think but when they do, it's always a joy to me when they're part of the setup too, and also the female vocal element of it has been fantastic too.
The first kind of many sonic surprises that I had on the record was back on the dance floor, which I think has been picked to sort of lead things off.
And I like the backing. Well, not really backing vocals. They're quite big, aren't they? It was great to have Imelda on that song. You know, Imelda May. I think she's just fantastic, and she's really. I think she really did a lot to colour it. You know, she's so creative. That was fun. So, yeah, and yes, and I think, you know, it was open enough to try some different keyboard sounds and different things, as well as the guitars being in there like they nearly always are. So it's a good old mix of stuff. Yeah, you know, that's one of my favourites from the record. Yeah, I like the phrase "back on the dance floor" because it means, to me, it doesn't mean it's not like ABBA or something. You know, it's not like a pop thing about dancing, you know, particularly. It's more about being in it, being, you know, back into it, into the swing of things, really. That's the expression. You know, for me, that expression, that's what it means to me. It's a character who sees, you know, himself as making this entrance, you know, but like a re-entrance, somebody who's been around, but wait till they get a load of me. It's kind of got that element to it, you know, whoever he is.
You go from that to, you know, another huge surprise to me was the feel of When You Leave. I mean, it's kind of a, you know, I'm thinking of Ronnie Scott's and sort of, you know, it was a chanson kind of.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I guess maybe that's part of it, to just writing songs on your own in hotel rooms and around the world. And that would be part of a line of songs that I'll have written. I'll have probably started writing that song years ago. And some of these songs can stay around on, I found some on recently that were all 2015 or even before then. And some of those things have been around for years. And something suddenly decides that it wants to be finished. I can be like that. I can have a song sitting around for 15 years, or, you know, I can have a song that, there was a song Rudiger on one album that, you know, I met Rudiger when John Lennon was murdered, and it all came together, and I wrote the song back then. I never changed a word, and the music didn't want to come for 13 years later or 16 years, I can't remember now. So it can be funny like that, you know, because I have this junkyard of stuff around that, you know, be looking at, and that's been further complicated by this musical, this working on this local hero musical as well. A whole other thing, more songs. I mean, even more songs, and I think that's another reason working on the musical, which I've really enjoyed, is that has been added to the length of time that it's taken to do down the road, wherever, you know, album. It's just lengthened everything.